Calzaghe's career has taken off spectacularly, but as he prepares for his first ever appearance at light heavyweight and his first ever appearance in America, only the best is going to do. Mark Bishop has been speaking to both men, and look out here for evidence that both are in outstanding shape.
The glitz of Las Vegas is a far cry from the valleys of Wales, but Joe Calzaghe is hoping to dazzle in this incredible American city when he takes on Bernard Hopkins in the early hours of Sunday morning.
It's good knowing that I've got some tremendous support over here, and it's like a home away from home, and I'm sure on the night it'll be a bigger crowd for me than it will for Hopkins, you know. So yeah, you know, I'm feeling good. You know, I can't wait to fight now. You know, all the hard work's been done. Feeling in great shape, and I know I'm going to win this fight.
The Italian Dragon is confident he'll slay Bernard the Executioner Hopkins. The big brash American has an incredible pedigree, but his age is a major factor. At 43, Calzaghe is 7 years younger, and that's a big advantage the Welshman will be hoping to exploit. And Hopkins is confident Calzaghe will be beaten.
I'm too bullheaded and too ahead of the game to be scared by threats now. I've been pro since 1988, made 21 middleweight defenses, fought all over the world, unlike Joe and other people's country. Beat a light heavyweight that everybody didn't give me a chance. I was 5-1 underdog, then beat Winky Wright. I mean, don't you know that I've been threatened by every living boxer that's been living that's in my weight class? So I mean, what else is new?
The smart money does seem to be on Calzaghe, but this will be the toughest fight of his career. Bernard Hopkins may be considered too old to win this one, but with Calzaghe looking for a knockout, he'll have to make sure he doesn't leave himself open to the experienced Hopkins, who remains convinced his height and experience gives him the natural advantage.
We were lucky to get that footage of Hopkins doing his warm-up this week, Steve. That is quite shocking.
It is.
That could be Bernard Hopkins 10 years ago.
You know what? I've been going on about it all week on this show, Paul. I think he's in better shape than he's ever been because he's got better people around him. He's living the proper life. He's been eating organic buffalo meat. That's what he's been on. Is that a good thing? I was with him in February. That's what he's eating on his own. He's been living a solitary life away from his family since the week before Christmas. He looks sharper. He looks faster because he knows that guile might not be enough. He's going to need a bit of speed in this fight.
But did you also detect a freshness? And there is a difference. But he looked fresh again there, didn't he?
He's reinvigorated by it. He's got the hunger back. I know that sounds like a contradiction in terms. All those years at the top, 20 years as a professional, all the millions, maybe 90 million he's banked already. But this guy has got his hunger back. And you remember those great fighters from the 90s? You remember in the 80s and the 90s? Duran, Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, all the money they had. Did they ever get in the ring and not give anything but 100%?
But Steve, much as we've made so much about Joe Calzaghe's appetite for this job, we can't overlook Bernard Hopkins on the evidence of what we've seen there with our own eyes, and we've brought to Setanta's viewers there.
You know, I'm telling you, I'm starting now to get a feeling that lots of people are starting to second-guess their earlier opinions. Starting to look at it again and think, what if? What if? Now, no one was saying what if 3 or 4 months ago. We've been saying it all week on this show.
Hopkins has got more than that going for him too, including one of the finest trainers of his generation in Freddie Roach, and our own John Rawling has been talking to him.
Joe is probably a little faster than Bernard, but the thing is, Joe throws punches a little bit wide. He doesn't throw straight punches that well. He's over the top a little bit with his shots. And, you know, people used to tell me he slaps with the left hand. I said, well, he must slap hard because he knocks a lot of people out with it. But the thing is, he's over the top a little bit with it, and he leaves the seam on the inside open for counterpunching. And we're going to take advantage of that. And, you know, I know Joe's got a great chin, but we're going to test him. You know, the thing is, and Bernard's very strong, and Joe's going to have to fight a great fight to win this one.
And Bernard talks about himself as being a southpaw assassin. We saw against Winky Wright, and I think particularly against Tarver. You know, that right hand was a tremendous shot. It took away the southpaw advantage.
You know, there's ways to fight southpaws, and me and Bernard have the same philosophy on how to fight southpaws. That's why we get along for the first fight with Winky. So, you know, I think fighting southpaws is easy. But the thing is, I've only lost the one, that's Hector Camacho, but he was a talented guy and I was a little bit older. But, you know, I'm not Bernard Hopkins though. Bernard's a real, he's the real deal. The thing is, he's a real professional, and he knows the sport of boxing, and he knows the adjustments. He knows the foot adjustments with fighting a southpaw is so important, and a lot of people ignore that. And I think Joe's one of those guys that ignores it. He doesn't take advantage of his. He doesn't put himself in those positions that I think he can be more effective at. So, because we watched, I studied a lot of tapes. Joe's defense is his offense. And that works pretty well for the most part of his career, but he's getting a little bit older too, and he's slowing down because it's a natural fact. We can't get away from age, but but he's another guy though that hasn't taken a lot of shots and a lot of beatings, of course. But I don't think he's really faced a guy like Bernard.
Is the right hand the key for Bernard? Joe was hit by Kessler, wasn't he?
Yeah,
hit hard.
The right hand is a good shot to use with the southpaw, but it's what you do after that though, because that's only the setup shot. It's what you do after that. You can't just rely on the one punch, because that's not going to be enough to beat a guy like Joe Calzaghe.
Bernard knows the tricks, doesn't he?
He does.
He knows how to mess a man around and take his style away.
He does, and he's very capable of trying to slow the guy's pace down and so forth. And Joe's known of not slowing down. He's known to be busy all night long, but nobody's ever tested Joe's body. I know he's got a good chin, but we'll try to slow him down. Body shots, hip shots. My guy knows all the tricks on how to slow guys down. He does, and I'm very confident that it's going to be a very tactical fight. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a toe-to-toe battle. Joe might want that to happen, but I don't think my guy will let that happen. It's going to be a boxing match, and I think I think Bernard's a smarter fighter at this point.
Enzo Calzaghe, your counterpart in the other corner, is worried that Bernard might turn it into a dirty fight, that he might use his head, that he might hit low, and that he'll try and drag Calzaghe down in that way.
When guys call people dirty fighters, I say, what are you talking about? It's a fight. I says, it's what whatever you do to win, elbows, headbutts, and shoulders, that's all part of the game. The thing is, he's a physical fighter. I don't call him dirty. I call him a little bit physical. But Joe can be physical also. He uses the elbows and the shoulders also. So it's tit for tat. The thing is, it's a fight. Let the boys fight. But yeah, my guy might get a little rough in there, but that's part of the game.
We don't need any more warnings, do we?
You saw there, you heard there why Freddie Roach has been brought in. Bernard Hopkins told me in February, I'm using Freddie because I've asked Freddie specifically to devise a plan to beat Joe Calzaghe. And that's what they've done. They've got a plan. They've got a plan A, they've got a plan B, they've got a plan C. And you can tell that this is going to be a tactical fight. We knew we weren't going to be in for some kind of Hollywood fight. It's at Planet Hollywood. It's not on Rocky Hollywood Planet. You understand me? It was never going to be a slugfest, Paul. That's not the way Hopkins fights. And believe me, he makes other fighters fight his fight.
What does it tell you that Bernard Hopkins, who's known to have been careful with his purse money over the years, has gone for a man who, by reputation, doesn't come cheap himself?
Well, I'd be amazed if Freddie's doing this for less than about 300,000 US dollars, maybe as much as $500,000 US dollars. And Bernard doesn't like to throw his money around. He's cautious with it, but he knows how to spend it when he has to spend it. And he has come up with the right plan, him and Freddie together. And Freddie talks about the body there. Bernard Hopkins, perhaps his biggest win, shock win, Oscar De La Hoya, the guy with the greatest chin in boxing. Body shot did the business.
Freddie Roach also told John Rawling, Joe is going to have to fight great to win here.
And he will have to fight great to win, and he will have to, without a doubt, use different tactics. That adjustment he did in the Kessler fight, he'll have to be thinking a lot sooner and a lot quicker, because that is what Hopkins makes you do. He makes you think, Paul.
Here's the other unknown factor, Steve. Back to Las Vegas. It's John Rawling again, this time joined by Rob Walker.
John, to use a phrase of yours, it's beginning to crackle with anticipation this week. Let's just touch on the choice of referee Joe Cortez. We saw him in action doing Hatton Mayweather. Slightly controversial choice, do you think?
Yeah, slightly controversial, because so far as Ricky Hatton and his supporters are concerned, Joe Cortez didn't have a good night that night in that fight against Mayweather. He was on Ricky's case from a very early stage in the fight, stopping him fighting at close quarters, making him fight at range, and so far as Ricky was concerned, he said that effectively took his biggest chance of winning the fight away from him.
But if Cortez is strict, surely that works in Calzaghe's favour, because Hopkins is the one who will look to spoil.
Well, possibly so. I mean, Hopkins, I think, is going to try and make this into a rough fight. I think the head will be used. I think the elbow is going to be in there. Maybe low blows, shoulders certainly. And Joe Calzaghe's camp have made it very clear that they want the referee, Joe Cortez, to keep a check on that. But there are other aspects as well. You know, I mean, there's been a whole question about whether or not Joe Calzaghe delivers his punches properly. He's been